Welcome to the Benning Report. Coming up in this edition, full coverage of the 2014 Best Ranger competition.
And training future combatives instructors.
Later, Gary Sinise performs at Fort Benning. Welcome to the Benning Report. I'm Melissa Bell.
And I'm David Wright with the Fort Benning Public Affairs Office. Thanks for watching.
50 teams competed this year for the title of Best Ranger, but only about half would survive the first day. Here's a look at the challenges of day one of this year's Best Ranger competition.
Rangers from all across the armed forces competed in the 31st annual David E. Grange Best Ranger competition. These Rangers are the elite amongst soldiers and the most physically fit in the world. To get through 75 miles of this competition, they'll need strength and strategy.
The idea of day one, essentially, it's a race to the foot march, and the foot march will be a mass start, and so there's a benefit to being up front. If you get there first, you get the most time to rest, giving you a benefit going into the foot march. Teams who are lagging behind will get there late and eventually have to start the foot march right when they show up to the event, giving them a disadvantage. And so you want to go as hard as you can, but at the same time you can't burn yourself out because you do have 2 more days after this.
The training's pretty intense, and then we both make a pact working together that we're going to leave everything here so that no loose ends. Our train-up has been just several different exercises leading into this, so everything all comes together now.
Going into day one, Rangers face a full-body workout as they burn through an 8-mile buddy run and head straight into the Malvesti obstacle course.
It's going to test a lot of their upper body strength, upper body endurance. You know, a lot of rope climbing, a lot of pull-ups, horizontal ladders, things like that. It's not in the Best Ranger competition every year, but it's something that we chose to put in this year, and I think it's going to be a really good challenge. And it's already claimed a couple of victims this year.
Moving out of Malvesti, day one keeps it non-stop. Rangers make a 2-mile dash to Victory Pond where they'll face a 630-meter swim to the Water Confidence Course. This course will test their confidence and ability to negotiate heights, while testing their cardiovascular stamina from these back-to-back events, determining who has the will to forge ahead.
Feeling pretty smoked, but we're doing good. Did a buddy run this morning, then we did Malvesti, then we did another buddy run, and then we swam the lake. So it's been a tough morning.
After a morning full of intense physical activity, Rangers must now demonstrate control. As they move into a stress shoot, they'll have to switch from grip strength to finesse.
3, 2, 1, go!
Carrying the litters and the skidcoats, you know, requires a lot of grip strength. And then when you do that and you transition into your weapon system where you have to be more gentle with that to, you know, place accurate shots on your targets, it requires a lot of mental focus, at the same time self-control as well.
With 4 teams already out of the competition, competitors are feeling the effects of this non-stop exertion. Only hours away, day 2 will reveal how many have lasted the night and who can gut it out.
After a grueling day, competitors move into land navigation and a foot march that eliminated 24 teams. Finally, after completing night stakes, competitors move on to day stakes on day 2 of the Best Ranger competition.
Day 2 of the Best Ranger competition, otherwise known as the Day Stakes on Todd Field, will see competitors using their technical soldier skills to complete tasks for time.
Day 1, the competitors are stretched out all over Fort Benning. Same thing on day 3. Day 2 allows us to bring all the Ranger events, the same tasks that we've been doing in Afghanistan and Iraq really for the last 13 years, and showcase those for all of our families and the Fort Benning community. A lot of the Ranger operations that happen around the world aren't widely televised, so the families many times don't know what their husbands do, so here they get to see it.
The technical functions that Rangers are required to master vary from climbing to medical procedures, but when they arrive on Todd Field for the day stakes, they start with grenades.
This course is important because it really showcases the technical proficiency of the competitors. All right, so we still use grenades in the operational force, What we utilize is M68 frag grenade shells with a fuse in it. So really what it showcases is their proficiency at actually engaging targets like they do on deployment.
During the day stakes, competitors move from one event to the other in a rotation, so they hit each and every event. Moving on from the grenade throw, the Rangers rotate to one of the most challenging events they encounter both physically and mentally, the Ranger First Responder.
Medical knowledge has always been an important part in any combat operation. It's very important that everybody knows how to and what to do in a combat scenario and how to treat a casualty to save lives.
In addition to demolitions, which requires soldiers to build charges and disarm incendiary devices, the Rangers literally move up in the world as they ascend and descend from 3 separate towers, using techniques from fast roping to knotted ladder climbs and reaching heights upwards of 60 feet.
There might not be a lot of tactical climbing, but there are situations that may arise where it's needed. So all over the military, we need people that are able to climb these type of rock first surfaces in order to get their units where they need to be able to execute the mission.
That is Team 48 starting the Tri-Tower Challenge.
Between 60-foot climbs, hauling a 170-pound dummy, mystery events, and other challenges, making it clear that only one kind of 2-man buddy team will make it through.
No NBC contamination. How copy, over?
Good copy. Ultimately, it's going to come down to the team with the most intestinal fortitude, the most heart, the team that will not quit, and a little bit of luck.
Ready, 1, 2, 3, 4!
Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV.
With a night orienteering challenge that lasted until 2 a.m., competitors had just 4.5 hours before they were up again to face the final day of the competition.
Climbing, crawling, swinging, and jumping. No time to rest, no time to look over your shoulder. The morning of day 3 was spent on the Darby Queen obstacle course. Here, the competitors are timed on their ability to successfully navigate 26 different obstacles on the mile-long course.
This course usually challenges them both mentally and physically. The physical part is pretty obvious. It is an obstacle course. It is grueling. The terrain does hurt some individuals depending on their cardio status and stuff like that. Climbing ropes does become an issue for some, but it also challenges them mentally should they be afraid of heights or anything like that. We do have 3, like I said, tall obstacles that are unique to this course that do challenge some of them mentally.
This is where all that hard work pays off, guys. This is where all that hard work pays off.
As soon as teams completed the Darby Queen course, they were loaded on helicopters and immediately taken to the next event.
We've got teams of 2 second lieutenants. We've got officer NCO teams. We've got NCO warrant officer teams, but they all represent the best pieces of the Army's diversity.
Next up, a spot jump at the Friar Drop Zone. Competitors were given targets on which to land and graded for their accuracy. As friends and family cheered them on, they then had to carry a 175-pound dummy to the event's finish line.
It's amazing. I mean, this is the 3rd day, and just to watch our guys and everyone else go through what they've gone through on little to no sleep, it's an amazing experience that I'm glad that we can say that we've been a part of.
Yeah, I think you gain a lot more respect for them. We had a lot of respect, but to see them go through all of it, it's just outstanding and incredible.
Once all jumps were completed, the 26 teams gathered at York Field for the last event of the entire competition, the final buddy run. The physical demands of the Best Ranger competition are staggering, and teams earn every respect for finishing. But only one team can be named the champion. Team 32, the leaders after the second day, crossed the finish line first, but would it be enough to win the trophy?
Even though Team 32 led after 2 days and won the final buddy run, it was Team 20, on the strength of their Darby Queen and spot jump performances, that pulled out the dramatic victory.
Second Lieutenant Michael Rose of Roswell, Georgia, and Second Lieutenant John Bergman of Lawrence, Kansas, both from the 25th Infantry Regiment, staged a dramatic comeback on the final day to win the 31st Annual Best Ranger competition. They were crowned champions at Marshall Auditorium in a ceremony that recognized all 26 of the finishing teams.
Once again, the winners of the 2014 Best Ranger competition, Second Lieutenant Michael Rose and Second Lieutenant John Bergman.
On hand to help award the trophy was the founder of the Best Ranger competition, Lieutenant General retired David E. Grange Jr. Rose and Bergman entered the Army together a little over a year ago. The decision was made in January that they would compete, and soon thereafter they began training 6 to 7 days a week for 3 months.
Just knowing you didn't leave anything left within you that you could have put forth effort, as long as you left it all out there on the competitor's field, we were happy, and that's what we did, and I guess it worked.
Both men cite the quality of their fellow competitors and are proud to be counted as peers among them. Rose and Berman will have their names permanently engraved on the Grange Trophy as they join the legacy of the Best Ranger competition. This is the first time in 19 years that the 25th Infantry Division has sent the winning team. Lieutenant Rose says he approached the competition with the mindset that it would be physically challenging, and it did not disappoint in that area. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
Coming up next, how instructors earn the right to teach combatives.
Private Ariano had an incident in basic training where a drill sergeant had been sexually harassing her.
I never thought that I would feel so low. When I did come out, he got sent away. Everyone blamed me. It was really hard afterwards. I think that's why females are scared to tell.
I spoke to her company. I wanted to reward her for coming forward because that had been a very difficult thing for her to do.
She really went out of her way and let me know he was done. I encourage anybody who's being harassed to come forward.
So far, we've looked at the basic and tactical combatives instructor courses, where the combative school certifies soldiers to go out into the force and teach combatives. But how do the school instructors learn it themselves? Nicole Randall takes a look at just how they get certified to teach combatives.
The Fort Benning Combatives program certifies basic and tactical instructors. But who teaches those classes? Well, they're a whole other level of certified, and the process each candidate at the combative school goes through is a rigorous training regimen.
Coming here being an instructor, they have to go through our actual certification process. They get interviewed by the chief trainer, the master trainer, or our chain of command. Once that's done, we bring them on there. If they've completed the interview process and they pass it, then we bring them onto our certification board.
The certification board consists of performing and teaching each combative's move. The board can be done gradually throughout the process of their training, but the candidate cannot move on to the next level until they've made it through.
Lifting your opponent up and then driving him to the ground.
Not only do we go through the moves, but we go more in depth with the moves. It's very important for me to understand the fact that I need to be able to explain why we're performing each step. Everything that I go through here with the instructors, it's actually a way to build confidence in myself and show that, I'm prepared and I'm ready to instruct.
Over the course of sometimes 6 months of certification boards, the candidate will also perform several duties as an assistant instructor, under the direct supervision of the primary instructor, who's already been certified to teach on their own.
Now as I pull it out and up.
Being an assistant instructor is a lot of hands-on. I'm interacting with the students, correcting their mistakes, and also helping develop their skills. Not only am I assisting with the students, I'm also learning from my primary instructor by shadowing him.
The certification board's practical application with the students, assistant instructing, and other initiations all amount to one thing: the ability to teach any move to any and all students at the school.
Every technique from basic combatives level 1 all the way to tactical combatives instructor course, which is level 4. They have to know how to do them all as well as instruct them all. There's a difference between applying a technique and actually teaching it. We have 3 types of learners we cater to. We cater to audio learners. We have visual learners who do exactly what I do as opposed to what I say because that's what they're watching for. And you have your tactile learners, which is hands-on. So we have to ensure that the instructor is able to teach and cater to every type of learner.
Combatives is a necessary skill every soldier should have, and the master trainers or elite combative school instructors need to be the most highly trained and proficient instructors in the force, because their abilities determine the success of their students.
Securing his wrist with a thumbless grip, taking my left hand
Instructor certification is very important. The reason being is without qualified instructors, you're not going to get a quality product. So your product has to be perfect, so your instructors. So that's why we're so hard on our instructors.
It's a way for me to build the confidence in myself, because when I know that my peers are signing off on me saying that I've learned the moves and being able to teach these moves, I feel like I'll have a lot of pride in becoming a primary instructor here.
The Combatives instructors on Fort Benning need to be the definition of elite because the Combative School, possibly one of the most underrated courses in the Army, provides soldiers with a resource should their primary and secondary weapon system fail. The tools they learn from these experts can save lives because it provides them literally with their last line of defense. Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV.
Each year, an armor competition pits tank crews against each other for bragging rights. Nate Snook is with Armor Commandant Brigadier General Leopoldo Quintas to talk about the 2014 Sullivan Cup.
Thanks, David. And we're here with General Quintas. And sir, thanks for joining us on the Benning Report. And we're going to take a look at the Sullivan Cup and what we can expect for the Sullivan Cup.
So the Sullivan Cup is the Army's best tank crew competition, and it'll occur from the 11th through the 15th of May, coming up here soon. And what we'll do is we'll bring the best tank crews from the Army's divisions from the United States and OCONUS here to Fort Benning, as well as we've invited the Marine Corps to bring their best tank crew, and the National Guard will also provide tank crews as well. And we've got a series of events over the days to determine who is the best of the best of the Abrams tank crews in the Army and the Marine Corps as well.
Wonderful. So why is a competition like this so important?
Our main purpose is to promote excellence across the Army in terms of tank gunnery and really the tank crew member skills. And so by having a competition, every tank crew, every tanker in the United States Army has the opportunity to participate, to compete, to participate here at the Sullivan Cup at Fort Benning. So our intention is to promote excellence throughout the force.
So this is not just a competition for just the soldiers, it's a competition for the spectators as well. It's a spectator-friendly event. And a lot of people hear the tanks going off at night and they want to be able to come out and see what all this noise is about, but even see the precision and the awe of what Abrams can do. Are you inviting people out to see this?
Absolutely. So there'll be days during the competition that we will open to the public. We'll provide transportation. We'll show them the overall competition, and then they'll get an opportunity to witness the live fire and really how do we train crews to be very proficient in firing tanks, really the best tank crews in the world.
Wonderful, sir. And is there anything else you want to add about the Sullivan Cup that makes this such a pristine event?
Well, we're honored to have General Retired Sullivan be here for part of the competition, an outstanding Army leader, an outstanding armor officer, and so we're honored to be able to name the competition after him and to be able to host him here. So it really is going to be a great day, or a great competition, a great celebration for the Armored Force.
Sir, thanks for joining us on the Benning Report. Don't forget to check out the Sullivan Cup. You can find a schedule of events on benning.army.mil. That's May 11th through the 15th. Or you can read about it in the Bayonet and Saber. Coming up next, Melissa Bell takes us around Fort Benning with the Fort Benning Roundup.
Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, there happens to be a place where soldiers and their families can go to relax and have some fun in the great outdoors. It's called Oochie Creek.
Oochie Creek is a campground and marina for soldiers, their family members, Department of Defense, and other eligible patrons.
So when you decide you want a relaxing getaway with your family, call up and reserve your stress-free vacation at Oochie Creek Campground and Marina.
Here's to the military, past and present, who honorably serve but are so much more. Here's to the moms and dads, the grandmas and grandpas. Here's to the athletes, the adventurous, the determined. Here's to those who have better things to do than worry about their benefits, because now there's e-benefits where you can easily access and track all your VA and DoD benefits online, all in one place. Register for your free account today at ebenefits.va.gov. Then get back out there.
From community events to official ceremonies, so much is always happening on Fort Benning. Here's a quick look at just some of those events in Fort Benning TV's Roundup.
Fort Benning Survivor Outreach Services Hall of Heroes was recently dedicated in front of a gathering of over 250 guests, soldiers, and families. This newly renovated hall provides a place of peace, permanence, and honor to photos of our fallen service members and to the families who come to pay respect to them.
It adds an air of dignity of both of what we do and to how we honor their soldiers. I think it gives a place where they can come, they can meditate, they can rest, and they're invited to come here at any time to the SOS Center.
Also on Fort Benning, more than 30 awards were presented to soldiers of the 75th Ranger Regiment, including the Silver Star, Purple Heart, and Bronze Star with Valor Device. These awards were given for actions under fire in Afghanistan, where IEDs threatened lives and Rangers stepped up to save their fellow soldiers.
You know, you always hope you'll act a certain way, and I think that night everybody acted like they always wanted to act. Everybody was brave and did what they needed to do to make sure we accomplished the mission.
Lloyd Elementary expressed appreciation for Fort Benning volunteers and performed for over 100 soldiers, spouses, and community volunteers as they were recognized for their selfless service.
A lot of programs would not be functional without volunteers. For example, we have volunteer coaches that coach football, soccer, baseball, wrestling, basketball. We have volunteers that run our Girl Scout and Boy Scout troops. We have volunteers that run our family readiness groups. A variety of organizations here that would not be functional if it weren't for the volunteers that we have here in the installation.
Volunteers recognized donated over 500 hours each and saved Fort Benning over $2 million, which provided much-needed services for the community. And that's your Fort Benning Roundup. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
After the break, Gary Sinise brings his Lieutenant Dan Band to Fort Benning.
I lost my brother Frank in the Battle of Iwo Jima.
He served on 4 combat tours in Vietnam, in Iraq, Afghanistan. There's a life that was lost behind that pin.
I put it on for my wife.
For my husband, my brother,
My dad.
my son.
We wear it because we honor those that we lost.
To learn more about the stories behind the Gold Star Pins, visit goldstarpins.org.
Comprehensive Soldier and Family Fitness, or CSF2, helps to build resilience for every member of the Army. Maximize you and your family's potential to build resilience and enhance performance. Visit csf2.army.mil to learn more about the 5 pillars of CSF2. And that's what's happening on the home front.
Ever wonder about the smell of smoke and the sound of explosions on Fort Benning? If you do, we have your answers at Smoke and Sound on the Fort Benning homepage. There you can find an interactive sound map and schedule of the many armor exercises on post. And there's also a schedule of controlled burns, so the sound of the explosions and smell of smoke don't come as a surprise. That's Smoke and Sound at benning.army.mil.
Actor Gary Sinise has been touring with his Lieutenant Dan Band for over a decade. Thousands turned out for their recent performance at Weatherby Field.
The Lieutenant Dan Band!
Actor Gary Sinise and his Lieutenant Dan Band entertained the Fort Benning community recently with a 2-hour high-energy concert at Weatherby Field. Best known for his role as Lieutenant Dan in the film Forrest Gump, Sinise has been playing in rock bands since high school. His acting career took off, but after 9/11, he returned to music and has been touring for the USO ever since.
The energy and the drive and the inspiration for playing for people comes from the soldiers and the people that I play for, the military families.
The concert featured a wide range of songs, delighting fans of all ages as they filled up Weatherby Field. Lieutenant Dan Band was formed in early 2004, and they perform around 50 shows a year exclusively for the USO.
I've played all over the world and done multiple concerts in support of various military charities, and played on numerous bases around the world, and I'm always inspired by the people that are serving our country, and that's what keeps me coming back.
Before the show, Sinise said he just wanted people to have a good time. It's safe to say, mission accomplished. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
So the band only plays for military audiences?
That's right. He has a tremendous compassion for our servicemen and women and the families left behind during deployment, so he's decided to give back through his music.
What a great turnout. And wasn't it also completely free to the military?
That's right. It sure was. And that will bring this edition of the Benning Report to an end.
But you can watch these stories and others on youtube.com/BenningTV or at benning.army.mil.
And you can also like us on Facebook.
From the Public Affairs Office, thanks for watching.